New physics. So let's start with a mirage. It is probably a thin sheet of material, a banner, so thin that you can see through it. It warps and wobbles. It is a long, thin banner that refracts light and causes the illusion. Let's use a water heater to further this explanation of this new physics. A water heater sends electrical pulses through the water. These pulses shoot off of the water heater's heating element, either turning aside electrons, for lack of a better word, that attach together to create a thin sheet of material, much like a mirage, or it creates a pulse, or a pulse comes off of the heating element and turns on its side and attaches to the heating element, and the next pulse attaches to the first pulse and extends a thin sheet of material. So in the case of the mirage, the sun's flumes are hitting the street and bouncing off to create a thin sheet of material. I can use another explanation using a roll of toilet paper. I used a public bathroom and went to the stall. I hung up my backpack on the hook inside the stall on the back of the door, and the backpack slid across the side of one of those larger industrial strength rolls of toilet paper. They are over a foot in diameter. As the backpack rubbed along the side of the floating toilet side of the backpack rubbed along the side, as the backpack rubbed along the side of the toilet paper, the floating dust particles of the white toilet paper came off of the roll of toilet paper and shot into the air like particles. Several flumes, thin sheets of matter, attached from the edge of the toilet paper, including the opposite flat side of the roll, to my backpack, which was hanging on the wall, hanging on the back of the door. The flumes were about 3 inches wide. I can use yet another explanation using drag on a boat or a ship. As the boat or ship moves through the water, several flumes are appearing all along the bottom and sides of the boat that are touching the water. These flumes probably get pulled 5 to 10 feet behind the vessel and concave at the end, and probably create something to match a flume, that matches the flume of a match. It's causing drag. The water flume creates too much drag. Let's use a Wi-Fi emitter. Let's use a Wi-Fi emitter or any radio antenna to further this explanation of this new physics. So a thin sheet of material in the shape of a half circle, if the Wi-Fi emitter is against the wall, warps and wobbles its way down to the street level. This means that a radio wave does not zigzag up and down in a consistent manner as shown on a graph. Another great explanation is a match flume. I believe the blue flame of a match is drawing, as in sucking in particles from the air, or maybe just from the mass of the match head. I believe the blue part of the flume of the match is getting struck by ultra-thin flumes from the match's flume. So it's going up. The blue on the sides is going up, but it's also creating more edge down. So it's slicing and dicing the match head down here, and it's going upwards too. When it hits the match heads, it probably pings particles off of the match head, and they spring up and they probably go along the flume and attach. to the side of the wall to make a thin sheet of material. The flumes directly over the match head are the longest, causing the center of the match flume to flume longer and stick out further than the outer bluer flume of the flame of the match. The center longer flume is so thin that it cannot be seen by the eyes. The thinner invisible flumes can still be felt though, cutting your finger inches above the match. The sun is creating flumes much like a match and a light bulb. A light bulb has flumes traveling up a wire. A thin sheet of material is able to push objects like an electric motor. Is able to push objects like an electric motor. The flume is split and strikes each other right where the filament wire is. This is direct current. Two flumes traveling up a wire and hitting each other. Oh, right here. And they spark off. They hit each other and stuff sparks off in there. It's probably creating flumes sideways and, in all these directions. And they're probably slicing and dicing too. As warmth, we need a little warmth. Slicing and dicing is necessary. It feels better. We feel good with some of the slicing and dicing from flumes. The flume probably wraps around the wire, and the thicker the inner wire, the more push the wire has. We create the flumes for the wires, but who creates the flumes for the sun? Logically, there are two flumes striking each other to create our sun, but it is also possible that the two flumes that create our sun is from the same source. I can also apply this new physics to Tai Chi. In order to apply flumes to Tai Chi, I have to first explain about some life forms that use flumes naturally. Fish may be using flumes that come out of the sides of the fish, out of the scales, and help propel it. This is probably what helps the fish move so quickly. Snakes probably use flumes to move about, and is probably what a snake sheds. Electric eels probably use flumes much like electricity. We can experience flumes quite easily through the eyes. We can move the thin layer on top of the eyeball this way, that way. I can feel it moving left and right. Moving that way, down, up. I can feel it moving across the top of the eye, a thin layer on top of the eyeball. We can move this thin layer of the eyes left, right, up, down. Then we can try to feel the flumes coming from our sweat glands as well. I recommend moving the flumes of the eyes first, just to get a feel for what I'm talking about, moving flumes around, chi. Then the sweat glands, eyes first to get a feel, then the eyes plus the body. Try to do it all at once, sliding the flumes right, left, forward. The whole body is legs, arms, head. You can feel it coming off the body this way, and then take your time and just let it flow, continue to flow that way, and then switch directions and let it flow this way, then go forward, and then go try to feel it coming from your back, pushing you forward, then go upwards, make everything go upwards, then make everything go down, then make everything come outwards, irradiate from the body in all directions, outwards and then inwards, bring it everything in, make the flumes go in towards yourself. And that is a new Tai Chi update. A man can use flumes much like a fish to move at lightning fast speeds. I have done this before, moving at lightning fast speeds. It's possible. Thank you.